person is defined also as a corporation. Well, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian,
all falls under those
they're all
terms,
corporation.
Right.
So they're all persons.
Right.
And it says what? Any person that what?
Any person who knowingly and willfully obtains information. So as long as under false pretenses shall be
and
fined.
what did B2 says? The consumer must give what? Written permission. So if you didn't give written permission, it means they obtain your information under what? False pretenses.
So wait a minute, but if you really ask yourself, the bureaus are three consumer reporting agencies. They are private companies whose their primary purpose is to collect data. So you telling me the data they collected?
Congress said it. They cannot furnish information on a consumer report without written permission from the consumer.
This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it because time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Respect My Blueprint podcast, where we give you the blueprint on how to do shit. You know, this is your host, your blueprint mastermind, and you guys are checking out the new studio, the new digs, and everything like that, right? Everything looks brand new, but we have an old guest here.
What's going on, guys? This is your favorite consumer law expert, Doreen Delevante here, giving you all the game on consumer law, how to repair, rebuild, restore your own credit, and teaching credit repair business owners how to scale their credit repair business to an extra six figures, maybe 150 per year extra, using 4 key principles: lead generation, client conversion, client ascension, continuity, and the CEO of the Credit Summit.
That's what's up, which we're going to touch on, man. You know, as the audience sees behind us, they probably, man, what's this behind us here? Okay, we're going to talk about that and everything. But, yeah, this part 2, man. Glad to have you back.
Man, come on. Like 1,200 comments. I think.
This is why we're doing this. It's really not for us. It's for them.
Damn,
you guys asked for this, so we're doing this. You know, a lot of people from part 1 was wondering, you know, hey, what's up with the part 2 and everything? Which, hold on, before we get into that, right? I wanted to talk about something. Which, first of all, the Credit Summit is behind us. I want to just keep it.
Yeah,
let's keep it G. Let's get straight to the point here, right? So you're having a Credit Summit here. Now, summits and conventions since the pandemic has been going down a little bit, right? So what made you wanted to do this Credit Summit, right? Because there's a lot of questions I want to ask behind this, but I want to just set the stage with this first question here.
All right. So Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for a lack of information, right? One of the biggest factors in black and brown communities, black and brown neighborhoods, black and brown household is we don't talk about credit. We don't talk about finances. We don't talk about money. These are topics that are not discussed in the home. It's more of leave the finances to the grown-ups. Kids shouldn't pay attention. Go to your room.
It's taboo. Just don't even talk about it, period.
Credit is bad. Debt is bad. And where did we get these beliefs from? Who told us that?
Which that's another major part of it, because, you know, growing up and everything like that, we're in a different time frame where the information that we have now wasn't exposed to the people back in the days, right?
It wasn't exposed to them.
It was there, but it wasn't exposed. It was there, it wasn't exposed to them.
Correct.
Right? But now we're being exposed to the information. So, but if you think about it, yes, there's a lot of people that are enlightened now, but there's still a lot of people in the black and brown that are not aware or enlightened to this information. So
and this is why we got to do this. That's why we got to normalize financial education. This is why we got to normalize consumer law. This is why we got to normalize talking about credit in the household.
Which, okay, brings me up to another point, right? Because we talked about this in the car, right? You know, what led to the miseducation of people? What led to that? Let's keep it real. No, let's be honest here. What led to the you can't blame us for our miseducation, right? So who do we blame? A lot of people want to just go, oh, it's the white man.
Well,
but that's easy to just blame the white man.
If my people are destroyed from a lack of information, and we know that the mind is the single most powerful tool ever created on the face of the earth, because everything that we use, everything that we do was birthed in the mind of a person. Well, if we control the mind of a race, or if we control the mind of a population, it's easy to influence them to get what we want. So if America is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States,
Right.
well, that means credit is one of the biggest factor in this country. So if we miseducate one race or a group of people about the use of credit, and another gets educated on, well, who do you think is at an advantage? The educated now will have an advantage over the uneducated. So now we take it a step further. Okay, let's think about the banks and how the banks make money, right?
Right.
There is no money because Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard in 1972, and in 1933 and 1913, we had the creature from Jekyll Island that came about.
Right,
which is
that's when
the
they-
Federal Reserve Bank.
Right.
And in 1933 was the Great Depression.
The Great Depression.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And we know now that money is debt, because when you borrow, that's when new money is created in the system. It's not there
Right.
just sitting.
We've seen that with the pandemic
Correct.
recently,
And,
right?
and they do fractional reserve lending, where if you put $1,000 in, all they got to keep is 100. They lend out 900. But then think about it this way. Now that they're not even required to have 10% anymore,
right.
you have your savings in a bank. 0.01%. That's what you're getting. 0.03.
Yeah,
maybe 0.05.
they don't
if you're lucky.
try the brother with that nonsense.
Right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But if this group of people that's uneducated about credit, finances, and debt borrows funds, right?
Right.
And because they don't know anything about credit, so based on what? A credit model scoring system that we created, right? Where you have to fit those category of payment history, utilization,
credit
length
mix.
of credit history, mix, and new credit. These 5 factors where we're giving a credit score that ranges from 300 to 850.
Right.
Well, we already know the game and we developed it, right? And we know that blacks and browns aren't really that educated, right?
Right.
In the beginning, because for 400 years we couldn't read, right?
Okay.
I want you to follow the
All right, I'm gonna follow you.
breadcrumbs,
Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
We couldn't read, and now we have these laws in place to protect banks, to protect consumers, but nobody told them that some of these laws even exist to protect them. Mind you, now you are uneducated about credit. You're uneducated about finances. You think credit is bad, so you're using cash. Never got the chance to generate a credit score or to be in their system.
Left out the whole system.
So can you see how everything was just stacked up against us?
Okay.
That's what we want.
Well, hold on. Let me give you an example. Because we just went out to eat.
Mm-hmm.
We ate lunch, right?
Yeah.
Right. When we ate lunch, what happened? When we went there, it was around almost 2:30.
2:30.
What did the waitress said, man, we closed at 3:00. Right. She said we closed at 3. Remember, I was like, damn, that's strange.
Yeah, like
That's
3
strange.
o'clock.
3, right? And she looked at us crazy, like, oh no, we close at 3. We open back in a couple of hours, right? So we ate. Then
No,
we
they're
left.
not opening back.
They just closed at
That's
3.
it. Yeah, they were closed at 3 until
Right.
5 a.m. the next morning.
So we driving back, and then we had it. was like, damn, that's kind of strange, right?
That's kind of.
And we determined the reason of why she was closing, because why? She wasn't able to invest in herself,
That's
right?
one.
Because she potentially, we speculated that was that, right? But nonetheless, it's the lack of information that she would need to be able to go ahead
because
and sustain.
it's a mom and pop store. You can tell it's a mom and pop
Right,
store.
right.
Which simply means that, they open, they close. They didn't put a system in place where they had staff on shifts. So maybe for the last 30 years or however long they owned that store,
Right.
She's been the one getting up at 4 a.m. to be there for 5, to close at 3. Don't tell me about extending my hours. I've already done 10 hours.
Yeah.
You see where I'm
Right,
going with
I
this?
see,
But
yeah.
if it was as simple as, okay, let me remove myself from the business, hire a manager. So now we got the 5 a.m. shift to maybe 12,
Right.
and then we got the 12 p.m. shift now to close. That's 2 shifts. So now you're capturing breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And dinner, right?
Right now you're only capturing breakfast and lunch. There's nobody capturing dinner.
Which now highlighting that point there, right? So is it her fault? Is it her fault because the system is designed against her? Or is it her fault because her lack of education, the lack of the, because I'm tying this in to, again, our people, black and brown people, having this misunderstanding about credit as well as debt.
I wouldn't say it's her fault. You don't know what you don't know until you start seeking that something must be wrong and there is a better way. Knock and it shall be open. Seek and ye shall find. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to find what you're not looking for. And if you don't know something is missing, how are you going to know that it needs fixing? If she's been comfortable for the last 20 years,
Right.
Making $50,000 a year or 100,000, and that's what her happy place is, it could be. But for somebody like me, where $50,000 is not enough, and that probably couldn't carry payroll, staff, and my expensive and everything for
Right.
the month. That's a huge problem. If I see $50,000 in my bank account, I'm worried.
There's
Like
something
it's
going
going
right,
bad.
right.
Something's going bad.
Right.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So for some people, seeing 50,000 in a bank, or that for the year, they're okay with it.
That's
But
a
for
good
somebody like
lifestyle,
me,
yeah,
that's
right.
panic mode. 50. That's panic mode.
Yeah.
Right. Team emergency meeting. We got no money. Because that can't
Yeah,
do
50,000 is zero technically,
anything.
right?
That cannot do anything, right?
Right.
So I think it's a matter of perspective of, where she is, how comfortable she is. But somebody like me, seeing that, I see an opportunity now to double or even triple the revenue in that business. But not everybody can see that, and it does come through education, right?
Okay.
Not the scam education system to go to school and get a job, but real financial education where you are in charge of printing your own paycheck.
So now let's build it, because I really like where we're going with this, right? So so now you take that same scenario, you extrapolate it times 10, and you also extend it within decades and generations. So now you're talking about a series of people that, whether through it's their fault or their own, they're held back of economic opportunities, whether it's lack of education. So now we getting into civil rights, redlining, lack of economic opportunities.
Let's even go
and things
before
like
that, slavery. We couldn't read during the slave period. Couldn't read. Why?
And wasn't it like illegal for
Was
us
illegal.
at that time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're
So-
thinking about empowering the population, we're talking about empowering the mind. The mind is the single most powerful tool on the face of the earth. It creates everything. Y'all
Okay.
supercomputers, y'all cell phones, y'all tablets. It was all birthed in the mind of somebody.
Facts.
We were made in the image and likeness of God. We were made in the image and likeness of a creator, right?
Right. Okay.
So now, knowing all of this, well, if they've been up on the game, how powerful the mind is, but why would an impala go educate lions on how to hunt them? Then they're all for dinner. So it's not in the best interest of the banking system for the biggest and the largest consumer population to be educated about credit. Who are they going to lend their subprime loans to? Who are they going to give their subprime credit cards? Who are they going to charge 30 and 35% interest rate? Whose car are they going to repossess? Who's going to file bankruptcy?
Good point. Okay. Well, so you're trying to say it's in their best interest to have this, to keep perpetuating this, to keep people financially illiterate, keep them
Read the
subprime.
Okay. Let's go to something as easy as truth in lending, right?
Okay.
15 USC 1605. And in 1605, it talks about the finance charge. It talks about the determination of a finance charge. It speaks about what is included in the finance charge. Like, it's better if you look it up, because I don't want people
Right.
to say,
Okay.
oh, the rain, you're making it up. No, I'm not. Go on your cell phone and type in 15 USC 1605. 1605. Go look it up. It's going to tell you about the finance charge.
Hold on, let's see what we got here.
And you'll be amazed at what's hidden in plain sight.
15 USC 1605.
1605. Determination of the finance charge.
Okay. Determination of a finance charge. Uh, okay, you want me to read the whole paragraph?
Please go ahead.
All right. Except as otherwise provided in this section, the amount of the finance charge in connection with any consumer credit transaction shall be
In
determined
connection with what?
in connection with any consumer credit transaction.
So did
that's
did it say auto loan specifically?
No.
Did it say home loan specifically?
No.
Did it say credit card specifically?
No.
Did it say personal loan specifically? It says what? Any.
All
right, keep
so
going.
That's a catch-all.
It's game on for everything.
Got it. Okay. Shall be determined as the sum of all charges payable directly or indirectly by the person to whom the credit is extended. So basically, whether it's directly or indirectly, it's extended to the person, right? And imposed directly or indirectly by the creditor as an incident to the extension of credit. So, but hold on. The finance charge does not include charges of a type payable in a comparable cash transaction.
The finance charge does not include cash. So when you are asked for a down payment is actually illegal.
What?
It says it.
The finance charge does not include charges of a type payable in a comparable cash transaction.
You do not bring cash to a finance charge or to a deal where there's a finance charge involved. The law says the finance charge is the sum of all charges. There is no down payment. But continue.
The finance charge shall not include fees and amounts imposed by third-party closing agents if the creditor does not require the imposition of the charges or services provided and does not retain the charges. Example of charges which are included in the finance include any of the types of charges which are applicable: interest and any type payable under a point, discount, or other system or additional charges, service or carrying charge. Number 3, loan fee, finder's fee, or similar charge.
Loan fee, finder's fee, or similar charge.
Loan fee, that's another term for like finance fee. A loan fee.
Well, not necessarily the finance fee, origination fee.
Origination fee, that's what I was going to say.
The dealers, right? They're notorious for document fees, state fees.
Shit,
they're going to charge you a fee for the tag.
Just for even looking it over.
They're going to charge you a fee to go to the finance manager. All of those fees that come from the dealer,
right?
No consumer. If there's a finance charge involved,
right?
If there's a finance charge involved, a consumer should not be paying for any fees out of pocket.
That's serious.
It's right there in their laws.
And this is plain sight right here in the law. Fee for investigation or credit report, premium or other charge for any guarantee or insurance protecting the creditor against the obligator's default or other credit loss. That right there just a minute. That's gap insurance.
That is gap insurance. Everybody that finance a vehicle should be driving off with gap insurance. But if you don't ask
by
for
default.
it, by default. So now someone knowingly and willfully withheld pertinent information, and then you go meet in an accident, and then they want full face value, knowing quite sure that they did not inform you about gap insurance. Wow. You left the lot without the gap insurance. Now you're not protected, and then now you are owed a repossession deficiency balance or a deficiency balance if you meet in an accident.
Exactly.
And now the value is less than what you owe.
Not only that, you're paying for an extra coverage that under the law, as I'm interpreting right here, it's just included in the finance charge. This is wild, bro. This is wild. This is impactful information right here.
I just came here in 2010. I guarantee this law was written before I got here.
TILA is one of the bedrocks of the fair credit reporting and everything that's attached to it.
Fair credit reporting, FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. The truth in the whole law is called truth
in lending.
Lending.
Basically, mortgage companies, credit card companies, they're all supposed to follow these laws
They must be TILA compliant. They have to be.
But from what we're understanding right now in our breakdown,
they're not. But whose fault is it that you don't know this? It's not theirs. They learn the game and play the game on their level. You got to learn the game and play it on yours.
So
it goes back to the lion and the impala. The impala's job, Every morning in the desert, an impala wakes up and they know that they must run faster than the fastest lion if they want to survive. Every morning in that same desert, a lion wakes up and the lion says,
Good point.
I need to run faster than the fastest impala or gazelle because that's my next meal. Both of them wake up the same morning. Both of them have a different mindset. One says, I got to outrun who somebody that wants to eat me. Somebody wakes up and say, listen, if I don't run faster than the prey that I need to
I'm
eat,
out of there.
I'm going to starve to death. The same thing with the banks. Their own interest is their well-being, their shareholders, their profits. Not to educate you. That's not their concern.
But we can't live without the banks, right? We obviously need them and everything
Says
like
who?
that. So, well,
Says who? You sure?
we just had this discussion of how you need credit.
We need credit. Do
Right?
we need credit from the bank?
Okay. Not true indeed, obviously.
So tell you what. All right. If you can prove to me that we only need the banks,
man,
right?
what?
If you can prove to
He
me,
stay strapped. I think y'all said, you know what? Bring up the last show up on the screen, man. Bring
Right,
us
let me
show.
take
Bring
out
out
these
the last
ones
show
out
in
of
here.
all right, I think this
You
is
know.
probably about $3 or $4 grand. I don't know. I didn't count it. But if you can prove to me that we only need the banks, right? All of this is yours.
That we only need the bank.
Mhm. We don't. The banks are the only institutions that we need to be successful. Can you prove that to me? $4 grand is just hanging out.
I'd have to come up with a very viable argument. Right?
All right, so let me give you mine. What's one of the oldest methods that even banks themselves invest in?
The oldest method?
That is secured, guaranteed, that can hedge any inflation. It's called life insurance. Whether it's a whole life insurance or an IUL. The other thing is becoming. You're from the Caribbean, right?
Yeah, born here, but yeah,
All
roots
right.
in the Caribbean.
So we have a thing called, I don't know what it's called in your country, but we call it Susu, our partner.
Oh, it's like eso, yeah, where it's like a community. I'm very aware of it, where
All right.
every week you put into it and then the person cash out.
Everybody in a community takes their money out of the banks, right?
Right.
And what we do is we hold ourselves accountable. And every week, let's say we have 100 people in the community participating, right? At $1,000 a week. So every week, somebody's getting 100,000. There's 100 of us in there, right?
Right.
And everybody's putting $1,000 a week. So now we're keeping our cash in our own community, in our own network, in our own families. You get 100,000 this week. I get 100,000 next week. He gets 100,000 the other week. What could that do for a group of people, as a community, as a whole? How can that change their lives and their finances?
That's true. I can see.
We don't need the banks.
But you know what the one downfall is that, at the end of the day, you still need to tap into leverage. The credit.
We can leverage each other. Because now, if you're going to go get a property, let's say you're going to go get a multifamily, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's maybe 500,000-600,000. FHA, you require
3.5 or 3%.
3.5% down, right?
Okay.
If it's the VA, you can do 0 down. Or these are other programs like the NACA and all these other programs.
Okay.
You go get a multifamily. We all pitch in to help you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next month, it's my turn to get a multifamily. Then the next month,
I see what you're saying. Okay.
we can build our
Yeah.
own economy. We
I
do
see what you're
not
saying.
need banks.
I see what you're saying.
The miseducation is why we think we need banks. The biggest scam, that's such a scam that we think it's so normal. You go put your hard-earned funds inside the bank, right?
Right.
They're giving you 0.01, 0.02, 0.05%.
Yo.
Then it wasn't even their money from the jump. They're going to take your money, They're going to lend it to a guy, right? They're going to lend it to Mr. Smith. They're going to lend it to Mrs. Smith, right? At 10, 15, and 20%. Mind you,
Crazy part about it, ain't nobody went to jail over them, and nobody's still never going to go to jail over it.
they never worked for this dollar a day in their life, but they were able to lend yours out. They're not even giving you 1%, and they're making 10, 15, and 18%.
Damn.
We don't need the banks.
So, okay, which I agree, but look what this country was built on. Some of the people who we didn't even know, their name ring bells to this day, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and everything like that. They leveraged the banking industry to their favor, right?
Oh, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use the banks and use OPM. I'm just saying we don't need it.
We don't need them.
We don't need them.
Okay.
As a group, as a community, we can build our own wealth. But the problem is, sometimes people can't be trusted. That's the problem.
Well, then let's talk about our culture, right? Because I feel like we are our own worst enemies sometimes.
Yes, because we've been educated to think so.
We've been educated to think so, or we're perpetuating the bullshit?
We've been educated to think that we are the enemy. We've been educated to think that we can do everything by ourselves. We've been educated to think, I am a single woman, let me roar. We've been educated to think that it's okay to be locked up in jail. It's okay to be selling dope. It's okay to have our men in prisons. It's okay to send our kids to school and have goddamn grown men dressing up as women teaching our kids bullshit. Those stuff have been okay.
Yeah, well, that's but if you get it, that's a lot of progressive policies, right?
How is it progressive? When we're teaching boys not to be boys anymore. When men are saying that they're not men anymore.
So where does that derive from?
It's a society thing. If society never made this okay, it wouldn't have been here, bruv.
Okay.
No,
so
let's clear everything up.
Let's clear, okay.
I don't got no problem if you represent any letter of the alphabet. Don't care.
Of course not.
Any shade of the rainbow too. I do not care. Not my business. Do whatever makes you happy.
Right.
Let me tell you what I have an issue with. Bring that stuff to my son.
The indoctrination.
You're getting
right.
punched in the throat.
Yeah.
I'm going to jail for somebody.
Yeah, the indoctrination of it.
Keep
Rich,
that shit away from my child.
I agree.
Keep that stuff in your home. Let kids be kids. What does a 5-year-old know about changing gender? What the hell do you know? Kids go through this stuff all the time. Later in life, they figure out where they want to go. Who are you to be a grown man dressing up like a damn fairy, telling kids that it's okay to want to wear girl clothes? No. If they want to do that shit on their own, let them do it. So it goes back to the misdirectional, miseducational system.
Right, okay.
What is this system really teaching us? Okay, after slavery, or towards the tail end of slavery, what was the first book they gave us to read?
Oh, we know the answer to that.
No, I don't know. What is it?
This is...
what is it?
The Bible.
Ah, the Bible. What does the Bible control?
The mind.
The
religion,
mind.
Right.
Faith.
Which is the biggest weapon that was
If we control the mind of a population, we control them. See, the Rothschild said, if I control the world's money, I care not who its leaders are. They don't care. Their job is not to educate you. You know who created the education system?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
I got $4,000 down there.
That's a good question. I want some of that money. You know what I'm saying? I can use some of that cash, but I would like to know. Hey Jay, who created?
Last time I got 2. This time I got 4. Double.
Man, he doubled it. You know what? And that's time. You know what? I'm afraid of part 3. What he's gonna bring? You know what I'm saying?
This is bank money. This is not prompt money. This isn't prompt money. So some of y'all are now going to be in the comments, oh, he brought prompt money. No, it's not. No, it's not. Right?
This the real deal Holyfield, So
John D. Rockefeller.
The Rockefellers
created the educational system in America. It was created to produce workers, not thinkers.
So this was all pre-planned.
Bro.
He was predisposed to come up with this whole way of life that we have right now, in other words.
When you are the richest person or richest people in the world, where money is not an issue, what's the only thing left for you to be the master of?
People.
Controlling people.
Right.
Have them do what I want them
What
to
do you
do.
want them to do? Right.
Look what happened in COVID. Everybody was scared to
My
go visit their
goodness.
grandmother.
Ah, goodness, yeah. Real tough.
Everybody was scared to go visit their grandmother. Oh, the vaccine is the safest thing. You will be protected. It's on record. But then the same people that said you were going to get protected from the vaccine, well, the vaccine is not that effective anymore. It will help in the prevention of it by using the spike proteins to recognize what, like, all
What
that
it's-
bullshit,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The same people that was telling you the vaccines are safe, the same people that was telling you to go jab the kids in your arms, the same people that fired you from your job of 30 years, of 25 years, because you refused to get the COVID shot. These are the same people
That's true.
that's responsible for our education.
Oh, well,
Very interesting.
okay. I see the correlation and the tie-in, right?
Okay.
I see the correlation and the tie-in, but let me see. But here's my challenge now, right? Now we're in a day and age where information is becoming a lot more prevalent, right? Now there's 17 states that have introduced bills, personal finance bills, where high school students are required to get at least a half a credit of financial literacy prior to graduation.
I wonder why.
Right, Plus, we even talked about it, how the state of Georgia has now, mandated as credit repairs being lawful now, where for a long time it was unlawful.
illegal.
Right, it was
Correct.
unlawful, right? So, and you see the birth of platforms like EYL and these other personal finance platforms, like yours and everything like that, right? So there is a movement. There is a movement.
Yeah, it took us a minute to get here, though.
But my question is, do you feel like it's enough? Because on the other end, we're the biggest consumers of financial illiteracy.
It's not enough.
But we're the biggest consumers of like fashion, biggest consumers of the culture of entertainment,
So I don't
biggest
wanna forget
consumers
your
of like
question.
drugs and everything. So I feel like if we kind of
I gotta
lessen
go
the
back to your
bullshit.
first question first, because
Okay.
I don't want us to pass it.
Go ahead.
It's not enough, but it's a start. To get
Okay.
to the end of any journey, it starts with what? The first
The
step.
beginning steps, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are in the initial stage of a woke society where we are no longer accepting the I don't know. No one ever taught me. It's not an excuse anymore. Everybody got an iPhone. Shout out to Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Everybody got an iPhone. You got a smart computer in your hand.
Right.
You can literally type anything into Google right now, and Google gives you
And
the
boom, it's
breadcrumbs,
right there.
the breadcrumbs to start to follow. So now the excuse of I don't have it, the excuse of no one ever told me, the excuse of we never were taught this is irrelevant. It doesn't apply anymore because now you know better, do better. Stop watching bullshit on social media and start educating yourself. You're spending hours binging Real Housewives of Hollywood, Real Housewives of Atlanta, all these drama-ridden filth that's just not contributing any way, shape, or form to your bank account versus going to EYL, go tune in on a podcast, go watch the Blueprint podcast. Tune into something that pushes the needle towards the goal that you're going to. It's on us now. When do we take responsibility? Are we going to keep saying, oh, we had 400 years of slavery. No one ever taught us. Well, shit, somebody's teaching you now. Are you going to still pretend like you don't hear, you don't know what's going on? Or are you going to say, damn, it's not how I felt, it's how I get up? Am I going to say, if I can look up, I can get up? Am I going to say, you know what? We have been miseducated. But you know what? It wasn't our fault. Now I have an opportunity to change the way my life goes. We keep crying about the past and do nothing to fix our future.
Okay. And obviously, a lot this first part of the show, I wanted to build up to this part here where we're leading up to the credit summit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because reason you're doing this is to answer a lot of the questions you
Correct.
just mentioned, right?
Correct.
To go ahead and enlighten and to be that start.
Mm-hmm. So the credit summit came about because I went to a conference, right? And I had questions nobody that's supposed to be subject matter expert could answer. They
On
are
the credit repair side.
on credit
yeah.
repair side, correct?
Right. Okay.
Because I'm asking about the laws. I'm asking about certain codes that are being used, new laws that are in place, and how this affect credit repair businesses and how this affect consumers. And none of the giants could answer. So right then and there, I decided that I'm going to become a giant, so I can teach
Okay.
other people how to become a giant.
Okay. Okay.
Because now, learning that anything on your credit can be deleted, some people didn't even think that was possible.
I mean, damn, anything. Bankruptcy, repo, don't
I
give a
could-
damn what it
Come on,
is,
bro.
man.
You know, I'm not going to say
light
something
work.
if I can't prove it,
That's light work.
right?
Okay. 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 Okay.
Bankruptcy, right? We were told by who? Somebody. That a bankruptcy has to stay on our credit for 10 years.
Right.
That's a lie. You can get a bankruptcy off in 30 days or less.
Which that's to me that's even bullshit, bro. Like bankruptcy, which by the way, what is bankruptcy? Bankruptcy is because you've made a risk or you've undertaken a risk in entrepreneurship 9 times out of 10. Obviously, you fail like most entrepreneurs do when and then boom. Why should I suffer 10 years after the demise of my business to be able to go ahead and kickstart another one, right?
Yeah, but where did that even come from, that we have to suffer for 10 years? Who told us that we had to suffer for 10 years?
Well, that's what the common belief is.
Common belief is, yes. It's also in the FCRA that it can be reported up to 10 years. Can be reported up to. It doesn't say it has to be
Exactly.
reported. You see where I'm saying?
Yeah, the play on
We
words.
are not comprehending their words.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
But
Okay.
is it bankruptcy or is it really identity theft?
Yeah, you got me looking crazy
I mean,
right
shit.
now.
All right, let me take you back up again.
Oh man, come on, bro. I thought how much money you got? How much? What the?
I'm
You
blessed.
know,
I'm blessed.
You feel me?
It's all yours.
So you try to tell me bankruptcies don't exist?
I'm not gonna say bankruptcy doesn't exist. The act of bankruptcy does exist.
Oh, with the
It
7 years.
doesn't. It what's not really true is that a bankruptcy has to stay on your credit.
for
10
10 years.
10
Yeah,
years.
right. Okay.
But I'm saying, is it really a bankruptcy that's reporting, or is it an account that came from identity theft?
Is it really bankruptcy or an account that came from? Wait a minute. Isn't it unlawful to fraudulently or to fraudulently claim identity theft when that's
If
not
it's
the case?
fraud, if you're doing it if you're lying about it, it's a crime.
It's a crime,
If
right?
it's legitimate, it is totally legal. Okay. Google for me.
Here we go. What we got?
15 USC 1681 B2. USC 1681B. Let's go to 1681B first.
Okay.
Permissible
Oh yeah,
purpose.
this right here.
All right.
Well, you made a whole career off this right here. Permissible purpose. Permissible
read it
purpose.
for me.
Yeah. Okay. So we started off the top.
Yeah.
A? Okay. Permissible purpose. Subject to subsection C. Any consumer reporting agency may furnish a consumer report under the following circumstances and no other.
Under the following circumstances,
So
and no
it's
other.
about the list.
They may furnish a consumer report
Right.
under the following circumstances and no other. All right. Is Equifax a consumer reporting agency?
Yes.
Is TransUnion?
TransUnion consumer. Yes.
Okay. What about Experian?
Yes.
What about LCI?
Yes.
What about SageStream?
Yes.
What about LexisNexis?
Yes.
You're all consumer reporting agencies, right?
Correct. Mhm.
Okay. So is it fair to say that the law applies to all of them?
Correct.
All right. Continue.
Yes, fair enough. Okay.
Hold on to number 2.
All right. Number 2, in accordance with the written instructions of the consumer to whom it relates.
Read that again for me.
In accordance with the written instructions of the consumer to whom it relates.
So read A, then read number 2.
Okay. So A, Well, that after number 2, there's. You want me to read number 1
No,
or
no,
skip
no.
it?
Read the top part first, right? A,
Right.
the in general,
Right.
and then read number 2.
All right. A. Subject to subsection C. Any consumer reporting agency may furnish a consumer report under the following circumstances and no other, in accordance with the written instructions of the consumer to whom it relates.
What did that just tell you?
So basically, that just says that a consumer reporting agency may furnish under the and no in accordance with the written instructions of the consumer to whom it relates.
Correct.
Wow. So basically, the
Consumer.
viewers cannot
The who?
the consumer reporting agency.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the consumer CRAs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The CRAs cannot furnish a credit report unless the consumer gives them permission to.
That also includes consumer reporting agency, the consumer reporting agency. What is the definition of identity theft? Google 18 USC 1028A. I'll put you onto some game.
He's putting all of y'all asked for this, right? Don't get nervous now.
18 USC
18. Let's see what we got here.
1028A.
18 USC 1028A. Aggravated identity theft.
Please read the definition.
And by the way, guys, y'all could pull this up. It's the first thing that pulls up on Cornell Law, just so y'all could y'all following along.
Mm-hmm.
So read number 1.
Please.
So in general, whoever and this is for identity theft, aggravated identity theft. Whoever during and in relation to any felony violation enumerated in subsection C knowingly transfers, possesses, or uses without lawful authority a means of identification of another person shall.
A means of identification of another person. Without what? Lawful authority. Okay, continue. Continue.
Oh, I see where you're going
Continue.
with this.
Continue.
Oh, okay. Okay. In addition to the punishment provided for such felony, be sentenced to a term of imprisonment for 2 years. Wow. Okay.
All right.
So I see what you're saying.
Okay. So go to now 15 USC 1681Q. 1681Q. 15 USC 1681Q.
USC 1681Q.
Correct.
How the hell you know all this off the top of your dome like this, man? Man, this is boy. Okay, here we go. All right. 15 USC Code 1681Q, obtaining information under false pretenses. Now we getting spicy.
Continue.
Okay. Any person who knowingly and willfully obtains information on a consumer from a consumer reporting agency under false pretenses shall be fined under Title 8, imprisoned for no more than 2 years, or both. So they could wax your ass, tax your ass, and throw you inside the jail.
All right.
If you play these games, huh?
Any person.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know about the definition of a person? A person is a corporation.
Oh, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a human being.
No. That's the definition. Look, you want to look up the definition of a person?
I take your word for it. I take your word for it because we deep in the alphabet soup right now, so I take your word for it.
A person is defined also as a corporation. Well, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian,
all falls under these
they're
terms,
all corporation.
Right.
So they're all persons.
Right.
And it says what? Any person that what?
Any person who will knowingly and willfully obtains information. So as long as under false pretenses shall be
and
fined.
what did B2 says? The consumer must give what? Written permission. So if you didn't give written permission, it means they obtain your information under what? False pretenses.
So wait a minute, but if you really ask yourself, the bureaus are the consumer reporting agencies. They are private companies their primary purpose is to collect data. So you telling me the data they collected.
Congress said it. They cannot furnish information on a consumer report without written permission from the consumer. It is in their laws. So if Experian goes to LexisNexis about a bankruptcy and tell them that their some permissible
Oh.
purpose, or they have a legitimate business reason to get your consumer file, that is a lie. That is fraud. They're obtaining it under false pretenses. The consumer must give written permission. So if you
I
didn't
see
give
what
written
you're saying.
permission, and the law says someone using an identification of you under false pretenses knowingly without a permissible purpose, that's aggravated identity theft. So is it a really bankruptcy that's reporting on your credit report, or is it an account that came from identity theft because you never gave any of them permission? They went under false pretenses, and by definition, 15 USC 1681Q and 18 USC 1028A, that is the definition of identity theft.
I like how you just cornered me in the rabbit hole like that. I like that because that was good. That was very, very good.
It's in their laws.
That was very, very good. You know, but it's hard to wrap my head. It's hard for a lot of people to be able to wrap their heads around this because, you know, I think I mentioned this last time.
We're not saying the bankruptcy doesn't exist. That's not what we're saying.
Right, it exists.
The reporting of the bankruptcy is fraudulent.
But here's the thing. I think I mentioned this before, right? You know, there's certain things that in existence that are meant to be kept inside secrecy for the sake of the greater of more people, right? For instance, I gave I gave the analogy, like, you know, there's certain laws that if it were to be revealed, it will potentially let out a mass amongst of inmates, right? So for the betterment of society, let's go ahead and withhold this law here, or let's go ahead and rewrite it in a way where it doesn't benefit this mass chaos, right? So I feel like this falls under that same category in a sense where, like you said, it's in the best interest of politicians and the banks to have a vibrant subprime market. It's in their best interest.
That's their interest.
To have a vibrant.
It's in our interest as consumers to know these things so you can get that bankruptcy deleted so you can go start your business and go create generational wealth. So they have their own self-interest. We need to have ours. Our self-interest and our betterment comes through our education on financial literacy and credit. This is how we make a stand.
So this right here, it doesn't matter what. No matter whether you want to believe this or not, this is in black and white. It's a law.
You can deny it all you want. You can have people from the banks tell you I'm lying. What does the writing say, bro? I didn't create it.
And that's crazy. This is
I came here in 2010. Right, this was written before I got here.
So, see if we could, you know what, let's bring up our old episode, because I want to get into some of the questions here. You know, let's bring up some of the questions here, because a lot of the audience has some questions about this. I have a lot of questions about this because, you know, it's hard to believe, but it's right here, and I'm a very practical person.
Why is it hard to believe, though?
Because you read it. Because that's what I'm saying. It's hard to believe, but I see it.
Do you not trust your own eyes?
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. You see how he do me? Dang, boy, he just he go below the belt, don't he? Boy, he go below. But you know what? And I can see why I wish a lot of people that's watching this, and which I know you guys are. You've left a bunch of comments on the first episode, that's why we're doing this again.
1,200 to be exact, as of right now.
Which we're gonna go over some of the comments now. But I just really hope a lot of people is moving on this information, right? They really are moving on this information because we all go through the same thoughts that had we known what we know today.
Right, let me show you how easy it is.
How we
right?
would have been different, right?
About 3 weeks ago, I just created another ebook. This ebook is on how I cracked the code to a FICO, how I build an 800 credit score 3 times, right?
Right.
And all somebody got to do right now that's watching this episode is text the word FICO, F-I-C-O. Text the word FICO to 917-993-5238, where I'm giving them an ebook with about 10 or 12 letters in there that's going to show them how they can start right now from the own comfort of their home to start working on their credit, their personal information, and getting themselves ready. Everything together would be about $1,100 or $1,200, and they're all getting it right now for only $47. Can we agree that everybody got $47?
Yeah, of course.
So then it comes back to personal responsibility. When are people going to take responsibility for their own success? The shoulda, woulda, coulda is not going to work. We have to be intentional about wealth. And I'm telling you, $47 can change your whole life.
So okay. So hold on. Let's go on some of these questions here. Hold on. Go to the scroll. Yeah, go to. All right. Let's see some of these questions.
Yeah,
here.
talk to me.
See, we need a part. Let's look behind us here, right? Oh, we need a part two. Hold on. We need a part two. This is such a blessing. I learned this makes me so happy. Hold on. There's a few questions here I wanted to ask you. We need a part two. Thank you. Hold on. Definitely going to the 30-day classes. Okay, hold on.
Which one? You see it?
Which one? Where you?
It's easier for you to
Okay,
see
yeah,
than
yeah,
me.
okay. Yeah, this is from DJ. Now, if
From
you,
who?
From J Dubba, JW 4534.
All right, cool.
All right, so we're gonna read your comments. All right, if you opt out of having your information disclosed to a non-affiliated party, does that mean the company can refuse to do business with you? This obviously would be before you applied for the debt, not if you already have it.
All right. That's a great question. Shout out to you. Now, if you opt out, well, we're not begging anybody anything. The law gives us the right to opt out. And if you opt out using the law,
Right.
and someone stopped doing business with you, that's called discrimination. There's a law against that too. 15
Oh,
USC
yeah.
1691,
Okay.
Equal Credit Opportunity Act,
Right,
A3. That solves that problem.
Knowing your rights.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Okay. So opting out. So in other words, everybody should be opting out on any type of data collection when it comes to credit, right?
If they want to, correct. You
There's
have
no
a choice.
reason.
It
There's
is
no
not
reason.
it's not mandatory. You have a choice of what you want reported.
Because you're giving
no
them the
law.
power, the more stuff you give them.
Correct.
Right.
There is
You know
no
what I mean?
law that says anything have to get reported. The law says you, the consumer, has the right to opt out. 15 USC 6802B.
You know, let me go. All right, hold on. Let me know. Okay, here's another one from Will Pagan 1316. Which, by the way, good question. Good question, Jade. What, J Dubba? I think that was J Dubba. JW. Good.
Yeah.
All right, good question there. You feel me? We're gonna do this for the last part of the show here. We're gonna read out some of these questions. We're gonna test Darain here and see what he really knows, man. We're gonna make sure you feel me? All right. I'm Puerto Rican. The only thing I don't like and understand about getting information from our own people is why we all talk at the same time. We never let others speak, respect others' time. That way, we, the people, can understand what you guys are saying.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
A lot of time, a lot of people get excited, right? And
Right.
when we're excited, we're talking about emotions. So someone might want to bring a point across and somebody else is speaking, but then somebody's like, oh my God, I don't want to forget my point. Yes,
True.
do we have people talking over each other? Yes. I've learned to hold my points, and if someone's talking, I'd say put a comma right there so I can address the first question and then move on to the second one.
question,
But
right.
it's an ongoing thing, and we learn as we go. Ain't nobody perfect.
Plus, I think that's just passion. You know, sometimes when you hear something and then there's some part in the conversation that it just be like, oh, like, it's like that inner child comes out of us, and you want to go ahead and get it out and express
Yeah,
it.
we're a work in progress. I say we'll strive to be better tomorrow than we are today.
But you know what? She brought up a good point, and I don't want to miss it because she was talking about one thing, but she brought up another point when it comes to also this space, financial literacy. There's it's widespread scam in personal finance, man.
Good point.
Personal finance is the number one industry where you can make most of them that produces the most millionaires. You can get rich off of.
The banks.
Which that okay, yeah,
The banks.
okay, you can throw their asses in there.
The
too.
banks.
Yeah, you can throw their asses in there,
They
right?
scamming. The
But
banks
they're
are
not gonna stop scamming.
The banks are the biggest scammers, and we're not talking.
But they're not gonna stop. So what do we do?
Because they pay their fines, bro.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Before we get to Sabrina, though, but to answer the question, there's a lot of scams going on, and she's right. A lot of the noise that's being said in our space is from scammers.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, fix your credit 30 days overnight. Woot the woot. Da 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 da.
That's against the law. We cannot make promises.
So, but it happens.
True, because people don't know how to market their business.
So now
they make unrealistic promises.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of in slavery. You actually have some of these niggas that actually was helping auction off the slaves. They were the ones that, so you're the bigger aggressor, bigger oppressor. So it's like the same thing now, right? Okay, we already are uneducated, so now are you going to sell us bullshit to further uneducate us or mislead us?
Well, all right, that's one part of it. There's 3 sides to a coin. Do you agree?
3 sides?
Correct.
Nah, I know 2. Man, see, bro, that...
I can prove to you right now that there's 3 sides to a coin.
3 sides?
This is yours, if I can prove it.
Man, you be with the...
This is yours, if I can prove it. There's 3 sides to a coin.
You just ain't gonna say nothing. You just go...
I've been giving you this $4,000
Man,
all episode.
ever since all day.
Do you want it or not?
I do want it.
All right, you got $4,000 to put up? I
Yeah,
can... So I can prove... You prove that there's 2 sides. I'm going to prove that there's 3 sides. The winner takes the other person's 4.
Damn, man.
It's right here.
I'll let you go first.
Oh, that was a good one. There's heads, there's tails, and there's the edge. There's 3 sides to a coin.
Wow, the head, tail, and the edge.
I am on the edge because I look at both perspective, and then I make an informed decision as to what I believe in. That's why my views are different from everybody else.
That's a very good perspective right there. Wow, that's a very succinct way of putting that. I like that. Okay. A lot of people don't operate like that, too. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying? We stubborn to whether it's either heads or tails and everything like that. Okay. So.
But who taught you that it was only heads and tails? Keep telling y'all about school, man.
What? I'm telling y'all, the internet undefeated, boy. Y'all better be up on game now. Hold on, let's read the last question.
We didn't read Sabrina's question.
Yeah, let's read Sabrina's question. Sorry, Sabrina, I know you want to get your question read. We're going to read your question right now, okay? Let's see what we got. All right, please answer. Okay, Sabrina, what you got from us? All right, Sabrina. By the way, I just bought your new ebook. Thanks. I just want to know if I could challenge TransUnion about a BK, I want to assume in bankruptcy, that has a mistake on the documents. The courts listed me as my own creditor.
Oh, wow. So it goes back to what I was saying.
Yeah, let's unpack that a little bit.
So let's go into bankruptcy, right?
Right.
We just touched on it a little bit just now. Is it bankruptcy? Sabrina, that section was definitely for you. Is it bankruptcy or is it really identity theft? Okay. The first thing is, where are they getting the information from? The bankruptcy courts does not report to the consumer reporting agencies. Where are they getting the information from?
They're getting it from the CRAs or, the consumer reporting agencies, from data, from different lenders, creditors, and things like that. Presumably.
PACER, Public Access to Court Electronic Records, right?
Right.
It's the government version of where they keep all public
It's their repository.
Information.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what LexisNexis, LCI, and some of these other ones like SageStream do, they go fishing. They go fish and get people information from there.
Okay.
Now, what do we know about the consumer report? It must be what? Accurate.
Right.
15 USC 1681. Fairness and accuracy, or accuracy and fairness of the consumer report, right?
Right.
15 USC 1681 EB. A consumer reporting agency must have reasonable procedures to ensure that every consumer report maintains what? Maximum possible accuracy.
Right. Okay.
So, if the courts don't report to the consumer reporting agency, How is the information being verified as accurate from Pacer?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so
Who can
since
verify
so
that
since
information?
the data is coming from the courts, so
It's-
obviously in the
It's
courts
coming,
it's not
coming from the courts.
wait,
It's coming from a website.
but that the courts regulate. Pacer.
Does the court has anything on there that says our information on this website is accurate? You will never find it.
But yet the CRAs are mining this information to record it on.
Then go ask for a certification of accuracy under the penalty of perjury from the clerk of that court regarding where that bankruptcy happened, and see if you're going to get it signed.
So, so what you're saying though, you're saying is that the CRAs, when they get this information,
There's
it
no
could be,
way.
number one, they shouldn't
There's
get
no
it, or
way
it's
for
inaccurate.
there is no way for the information to be verified as accurate. There is no possible way to ensure that the information is accurate. It's not. You're taking information from a source with an assumption
That it is accurate in the
with no
first place.
proof or certification that the information is accurate.
Which violates the law that it must be accurate and fair.
Correct. Then they take that information, one consumer reporting agency to another, without a permissible purpose or without lawful authority, sell your information to another consumer reporting agency. And the law prohibits that a person cannot, or a consumer reporting agency cannot, furnish information unless
there's a permissible purpose.
there's permissible purpose. And permissible purpose must be written.
Damn, but okay.
I mean,
You're talking about so many violations right now, man.
There's people that make money from just suing. I'm talking buku money.
Just suing these people.
Just suing them.
If I'm not mistaken, it's a normal course of operations for these companies to operate with lawsuits. Because they're private companies. I mean,
Because there's less people that know the law than people that don't.
that actually knows about it. Yeah.
When they'll pay maybe $100 million out in damages, they're making $1 billion off of ignorance.
Off top.
Come on.
It's like we're talking about, like the banks.
So if it's costing me $100 million,
right,
to make $1 billion, why would I not take that deal?
So it's like the banks, like you say. So it's like, okay, we know we're gonna get caught. We know we're gonna pay a penalty.
You see why they're all in cahoots with each other.
Right.
Come on, it's a whole gang of them.
So hold on. Let's go back to what that young lady's question. So she asked the question: so it was illegal for TransUnion to report her as her own creditor?
Correct.
As the young lady put here.
Correct.
Bring her question.
Well, remember,
she says, because if I want to know if I can challenge TransUnion about a bankruptcy.
1,000,000%, and you can get paid for it.
So this young lady, I hope you.
Yeah, she got a whole case on her hands. Where did the information come from? Who gave written permission to furnish the information? Who verified the information that it was indeed accurate? The consumer reporting agency must verify all the information to be correct. Who is validating or supplying the certificate of accuracy as per 15 USC 1681 I-5? Where is the certification of accuracy coming from?
So with that being said, she has a case. So a lot of people. So it's just not about even getting the remedy redressed by having your credit report fit. You could also be compensated for.
Remedy means different things to different people. What does remedy mean for you? Some people want deletions. Some people want a check. Some people want both. What does remedy mean to you?
And you're more than entitled to one or more of them if you fall under these circumstances.
You want to find out what the law says?
I believe you now. Okay,
I'm not gonna make
all right.
it up.
We try to get people the bag. We try to give you the blueprint to get the bag, man, and how to do shit. You feel me? So let's talk about next question. I want to keep the questions moving here. All right, Kelly, I'd like to know if you can share your personal and most impactful top 10 books that changed your mindset and business acumen?
All right. So
Good
when I was in
question.
a dark space, right? When I was ignorant, didn't know shit, had bad credit,
Like what's
needed a
all?
co-signer, got a 75,000 miles on a used Nissan Altima, paying 18.9% interest rate, which is a
Jeez.
$550 payment, and a $400 insurance
Oof.
because I was a new driver. Ignorance was the biggest tax I ever paid, right? The biggest tax you'll ever pay. It's called ignorance tax, right? Because you
Damn.
don't know the things that you don't know. And the
Damn.
people that knows the things you don't know will use the things you don't know against you because you don't know it, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first book I ever read front to back. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
For Rich Dad Pro. I think everybody should needs to read that book.
It should be
That's
mandatory in
mandatory.
school.
They should be in school, as a matter
Like,
of fact.
shout out to Robert Kiyosaki.
Damn
and for
right.
everybody that's
There's
watching
even the
this
kids'
episode,
versions of it now. Yeah.
everybody that's watching this episode, tag the Rich Dad Company, tag Robert
Straight the
Kiyosaki.
fuck up.
Like, I need to be on the Rich Dad show, and I need y'all to tag EYL. I need to be on EYL's podcast too, guys.
Damn right.
Yo,
I
let's
need a
run it
cut.
up. Let's run it up. Tag EYL in here and let EYL know they need Darain Delevante on the podcast. I'm telling y'all. So the next thing is Think and Grow Rich.
Okay,
So,
Napoleon Hill.
Each book has a purpose.
Right.
Rich Dad Poor Dad taught me rule number one. The rich don't work for money. The rich have money work for them. That's the most important lesson I've ever learned
Right.
in life. And then Napoleon Hill taught me that if you control your mind, no one can use your emotions against you. Control your emotions. We react because of
Yeah,
emotion,
we're
energy
reactionary, yeah.
in motion. If you can control your mind, no one can ever use anything against you. That's why I don't care when people say stuff. I just don't care. Because guess what? If it's not putting money in my bank account, I don't care.
You don't give a damn.
I
yeah,
don't.
As it shouldn't.
You
as
can
it shouldn't,
talk
yeah.
all you, bruh, I don't care. I don't.
So what if, follow up on the Rich Dad Poor Dad, what's the first book a young adult getting into college should read?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
That should be the first book.
First
right there.
book. First book. Rich Dad Poor Dad. First book.
It's funny because that was my first literacy book, but I didn't read it until I was in prison, you know? And
I
that's
read
a
that
very
book 7 times.
you can read, you can get a lot, and the thing I like about that book is because it's like in 6th grade language, and it's easy to comprehend, and it's just basics.
Financial literacy at
Period.
its finest.
Period. You know, the rich dad, how he had his life, and the poor dad, and how the son made the decision he wanted to live like the rich dad versus the poor dad. So, you know, I like how he used that analogy to kind of formulate the entire book and everything, right?
What's the epitome of black household? Go to school and get a job so you can hang a diploma on the wall, right?
Damn right. Worked the
Went to
30
college,
years and all that good
Went
stuff.
to college, got a master's, I got a PhD, it's on the wall collecting dust. We're going to join the 40-40-40 club, 40 hours a week, 40 years, retiring 40%.
Wow.
Who
Yeah.
have you ever seen being successful off of that formula?
But that was sold to us for such a freaking long time, though.
Who created the educational system?
Okay,
My
but let me
point
but let me ask you a question though. Can we all agree entrepreneurship is not for everyone?
It's not. You got to pick your lane. But a lot of times we don't spend enough time solving other people's problems. This is why a lot of people aren't rich. Solve people's problem. People will line up around the block with money in hand, waiting to throw it at you. There's a lot of problems to be solved. There's 340 million people in America.
And
Every
growing.
8 out of 10 people got inaccuracies on their credit.
That's fact.
That's a lot of credit profiles.
Yeah, that's a lot of messed up folks around here, man. That's what it is. So, so let me ask you, if you would have flipped that number, if it was just 2 out of 10 people that had,
Still a lot of people.
but we would be far off better as people, right?
100%,
Obviously, right?
because
We'd
a
be-
lot more people would have an informed use of credit, meaning that they would be making better financial and credit decisions.
Okay. Which now, everybody's living the paycheck to paycheck. Because I want to bring up a point here, right? It's 3/4 of America is living paycheck to paycheck since the pandemic.
I was
and
there.
everything. Me too. And
Shit, I remember having no money.
I remember even people. I know people that make some $1 million a year. They still live paycheck to paycheck. Just because of the lifestyle that they we good? Okay. So I know people that makes $1 million and they live paycheck to paycheck. Okay. And
Before we go there, before we move on to the next thing, when a lot of people's income rises, they also raise their lifestyle.
right.
So now, it's not that you're not making more money now. It's just that you've incurred more expenses being like the Joneses.
Okay. Right.
So it's still about misinformation and miseducation.
Okay.
We want to be like okay, what do we see on TV? We see the Beyoncés, the Jay-Z's. They represent less than 1% of the population. But we all see the LeBron James.
We idolize
We all
them.
see the rappers. We all see the football stars. We all see all of these people with Lamborghinis, Ferraris, mansions, girls on the yacht. And guess what? We like what we see. We
Right.
want it. So the minute we get a few dollars, guess what? We're going to try to live that lifestyle.
Try to emulate that.
right?
Yeah.
Well, what if we get the money, but we created streams of income to support a lifestyle that we want of liabilities? So if you got 100,000,
Right.
let me splurge 5,000. I'm
Okay.
gonna use 95 now to go reinvest in other streams of income that can make me more $100,000. There's nothing wrong with splurging on yourself.
Oh,
Just
hell
don't blow
nah.
the whole bag. I'll blow 5%, 4% of a bag. So I got 10 grand. Let me go spend $400 on myself.
Yeah, a lot of people want to see it there.
But they're not going to do that. They get 10 grand. They're spending 8 grand on vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
That shit don't even make no sense.
But it's not their fault as well, too.
Well, it's nobody's fault.
It's not their fault.
It is their fault.
It is their fault. Yes. Okay.
Somebody's
let me take that.
responsible for that.
Right. It is their fault, but it's not their fault of their behavior of doing so.
Because they were programmed. Correct.
Exactly. It's the wiring of the mind.
It's the wiring of the mind. So how do we move from that? We need to start reading books. And a lot of y'all don't want to read books because a lot of you can't even watch a video for 1 minute. Now, who I'm
Not
talking
with
to
30
is not the
seconds.
person that's hearing the sound of my voice, because if you are here, it means that you are better than the rest. The average person right now, their attention span is less than that of a goldfish. A damn goldfish.
Ah, damn,
Right?
boy.
A goldfish.
You trying to goldfishes out there, man. Like
Right?
this.
So at what point do we say, yo, you're responsible for your own education, bro? At what point do we take the responsibility? Yes, I am responsible for my own education. At what point do we get to there where people are taking responsibility
Responsibility for
and
their
learning
own,
that what
yeah.
I've been doing for 30 years or 25 years, it's not working? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over,
Right.
the same way, expecting a different result. If you change the input, right, the output's going to change, but you still put in, garbage in, garbage out. Change that. A book a day, a book a week, a book a month. Your output
Something.
will definitely change.
Yeah.
And that's how I changed from being an ignorant person to becoming one of the best consumer law advocates out there and the best credit repair coach in the U.S.
Okay, which that's a good way to ready to wrap up the show because we've answered some questions of the audience and everything.
The credit summit,
Yeah,
we got to tell them about the summit. Y'all better.
Well, what's up with the credit summit?
Yo.
Though? I know the credit summit. You're doing it. This is your second one. You're doing it in Atlanta. This is going to be the end of September, beginning of October, if
The
I'm
fall
not mistaken.
edition,
Right,
right?
the fall
You need
edition.
to let bad credit fall like leaves, bro.
So this credit summit, who's it for?
It's
Who
for
should
the
be there?
consumer. It's for
Okay.
the credit repair business owner. It's for you. It's for your brother, your sister, your mother, your auntie, your child. It's for everyone because as a culture, we need to change our dynamics. My people are destroyed from a lack of information. Well, let's change that lack of information and let's start getting information abundance. Through the mind, be ye renowned through a new mind. Let's recreate your mind. Let's restructure the way you think. Let's teach you how to delete anything from your credit. Let's teach you that charge off that you got, it don't got to stay for 7 years. Let's teach you how to delete those late payments. It doesn't exist anyway. Let's talk about deleting collections. You don't have to pay collections. 15 USC 1692 CC. In writing, a consumer can refuse to pay a debt collector. You don't have to pay collections.
What? Hold on, man. Next time y'all call my phone, I got something for you now.
Right? So let's talk about empowering you. You are my sister. You are my brother. You're my mom. You're my grandma. Auntie, let's go. Y'all need to be at the Credit Summit. We need to start supporting us.
Facts.
Come learn at the Credit Summit. Come erase your credit worries. Come elevate your credit score. And let's put an end to this I don't know.
Which that brings up because I think the only type of event that rivals to the Credit Summit is one that we attended. We've known each other, right? And the crazy part about it, I won't name drop them because I don't want to,
no free promo.
Right. So, but the thing about it, that's that conference, that platform there. Although we're the biggest consumers of credit, that platform there really is not represented.
Us.
There you go.
90% us.
But yet it's organized and represented by.
Correct.
So that's
that
the
means
biggest thing
there's
right
a
there.
need for what I'm doing.
Right.
And that need is you that's hearing the sound of my voice. September 29th, that's a VIP day. Y'all need to get your VIP tickets. September 30th, October 1st, which is my national holiday. Y'all need to be at the Credit Summit.
Oh, so it was intentional for you to pick this.
Oh, yeah. That's the day I got let go from the military. I got let go off for active duty. You know why?
Why's that?
Because they overspent on the COVID budget. And my orders were cut because what? A month later, they sent over 22 million to Ukraine. That's what happened.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
so this
okay.
is some real life
Oh,
stuff
this
right
is
here.
personal.
Yo, this is some real life stuff
This
right
is
here.
personal.
Damn. Hey, y'all done did something. Hey, man. What? Hey, bruh.
This is personal.
What?
Yeah, this is personal.
So this shows how even real life events can have an effect on when it comes to even how it affects on just your credit aspect and everything like that, right?
The question is, are we going to keep complaining about us having bad credit? Are we going to keep complaining about nobody taught us, or are we going to do something about it? See, I was complaining for years about it, and you know what happened? I got a slap in the face. Well, you're in the 40-40 club, right? But guess what? Your priorities and your well-being is not our main focus. So guess what? You got to go learn to defend it for yourself. You got to go learn how to cope with society. You got to learn that at the end of the day, you come first. And the question is now, if you think a job has you as your first priority, you are sad. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It is not.
Man, please.
It is not. And when you think you are safe because you got a government job, oh, be careful. I thought the same thing too. But guess what? That event made me a millionaire. I would not change that for the world.
Wow. So it was
I'm
actually
salty
a
as
blessing.
hell about it.
It was a blessing, yeah.
It is a blessing.
It was a bittersweet moment,
But
obviously.
sometimes, you see, you got a penny anywhere? Who got a penny?
A penny. Oh,
yeah,
you said a penny.
Somebody got a penny, no?
Well, we got now, man. Ain't no but rackets over here.
I would have
man.
shown
Ain't
y'all
no-
something real cool, but we ain't got no penny, guys.
No penny.
I'm sorry.
Nah.
I was about to show y'all something real cool.
All right, talk to me.
There comes a time when we have to recognize that we are in charge of our own success. We are in charge of learning how to print our own income. You cannot let somebody determine your worth. Oh, you're only worth $15 an hour. You're only worth $20 an hour.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I see what you're saying.
Yo, one of the biggest lies we were told is that time is money. And we all bought it. Because I drank that Kool-Aid too.
I mean, right.
It's the big... So you believe time is money?
You know, that's why I be like, hurry up, man. Time is money. Time is money. That's what a lot of people say, right?
I'm giving you another opportunity. I'm
You know
giving
what
you.
I'm saying? I don't got time for that money right there, man. I don't got time for that. I got time for it, but man, yeah,
I'm
man.
giving you
But yeah,
one
that's
more
another,
opportunity.
that's a whole nother time zone.
I'm giving
right
you
there.
one more opportunity to get.
That's
this
a
burger.
whole
All right.
nother time zone.
So, do
right
you
there.
believe that time is equal to money?
Time is equal? No.
What if I told you that
Because
was a lie?
I would say that because you know what? You can make, I've always believed in this, you can make $1 million in 5 minutes, but $1 million cannot buy you 5 minutes. So no amount of money can buy you no time at all.
It depends on how you look at it. But let me explain my point.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go over to Bank of America, right?
Right.
I'm gonna give you $1 million. It has a condition though. You die tomorrow morning. You be a millionaire today, but you die tomorrow morning.
I mean, you could 10x that, 100x that. I would say no.
Right?
Right. I would say
So I give you $1 million today. You're not waking up tomorrow morning.
no, I'm not
Would
taking
you take it?
No.
Okay. So is it safe to say that time is infinitely more important than money?
Yes.
So time does not equal money. We've been lied to.
Now, you damn sure have a time of your life.
You can
right?
use money to buy time by paying people to do the things that you don't want to do so you can have the time to spend with those that matter to you. Money is a tool.
It's a byproduct, right?
Correct. You cannot say time is equal to money. Time is infinitely more valuable because I can lose $1 million today and I can get it back. If I lose 1 minute right now, I will never be able to recoup.
Right.
It's not equal.
So with the credit summit, you know, you're looking to go ahead and not only collapse the belief of being miseducated on credit, but also collapse the belief on how, you know, time is money as well too.
It's
right?
not true. Everything y'all thought y'all knew about credit, I will shatter those walls. And I'm going to show you guys the real truth about credit. The secrets the credit bureaus don't want you to know. Because what? Credit bureaus don't even exist. That's why you have been miseducated.
So they don't exist. What about the IRS?
IRS, show me the law that says you have to pay taxes.
Shit, there's a lot of people. There's Wesley Snipes, Ryan Elisley. There's a bunch of them sitting in jail
You
right
think
now.
that you don't know, that you don't know. Show me the law that requires you to pay taxes.
Shit, we're gonna have to pull that up, man. We're gonna have to.
Oh, if you find it, I'll give you another opportunity.
Hold on, man. I gotta get my Chat GPT working, man. It ain't working right now, man. Let me get my AI working tomorrow, man. Cause you know,
you know why America became an independent country?
Talk to me.
Taxes. They rebelled against the taxes from England. But it's
that's how
crazy
right,
how
right. The Boston
we
Tea
forgot
Party
our,
and all that
we forgot
shit,
our
yeah.
own history to think now it's mandatory for us to pay taxes. You have to volunteer to pay taxes. You volunteer to pay taxes. It is not mandatory. You volunteer to pay taxes. And it's the same thing that led this country to be a free, quote unquote, free country.
Right.
Now it's the same thing that's trapping its citizens. Ain't that some shit?
Ain't listen, hey,
Huh?
only in America.
Ain't that some
Only
shit?
in America, literally, right? You know?
You're liberated a whole country because y'all didn't want to pay taxes. Now we force all our citizens to enroll in a
In the
program
system to
pay
pay
taxes. Ain't that some shit?
Oh, damn, man. Well,
Then when Trump comes and say, I don't pay any income taxes, y'all get upset. When Grant Cardone say, I don't pay any income taxes, y'all get upset. When Robert says, I don't pay income taxes, y'all get upset. Y'all shouldn't be upset. Y'all need to learn what they are doing
What the
to
sauce is.
legally pay no taxes.
figure out the sauce, yeah, you know. So I mean, more or less, and I agree with you, but the problem is, and you know, I want to wrap it up and say this: it's hard to use it to your advantage where the sauce was made to give you indigestion, when the sauce was made to make you unhealthy, when the sauce was made to give you chronic diseases. And I'm saying this is because the same laws that you're saying these individuals taking advantage of. I believe, and I'm saying this as to a degree, even if we were exposed to some of these laws, we wouldn't be able to fully benefit off it because there would be some subsequent law to further fence us off, or there's provisions within the current laws that just makes it, just makes the procedure or the process almost, impossible for us.
I got a different opinion from that. If they gotta change the law for us, they gotta change the law for themselves too. And they've been benefiting from this stuff since the dawn of time. They're not gonna change.
Man,
it.
they're not gonna look
Depreciation
how now. Because I just read in the article, they just now want to pass laws to prevent lawmakers from investing in stocks. Although most of them, like the Nancy Pelosi's and everything like that, these lawmakers, they make careers off insider trading and everything like that. Now, all of a sudden, you guys want to go ahead and restrict the laws on this?
Well, whose fault is that you weren't hip to the game? You're just not on the inside. Right. See, people are upset because they're not on the inside. Well, nobody told you to be on the outside. Learn what rich people... That's why they wrote books. People are not reading. That's the problem. Everybody can do what Pelosi did. Everybody can do what Grant's doing. Everybody can do what Robert's doing. Read the books. There's a whole book called Tax-Free Wealth. Tom Wheelwright wrote it. The book teaches you everything about how Robert pays no taxes legally. But if I give somebody a tax book, you think they're going to read it?
Hell no.
It's going to sit on their shelf, collect dust.
Hell no.
Then you wonder why you're paying 35 and 40%. I want to pay zero. Nada. So I'm going to learn what the CPA say I must do. I'm going to learn what the IRS said. The IRS even tells you how not to pay taxes.
Oh,
right?
Shit.
Right? I'm going to learn what Grant Cardone say and what Grant Cardone is doing, why he's not paying taxes. I'm going to learn why Trump pays no taxes. It's a thing in real estate called depreciation.
Oh, shit. Boy, wait, listen, boy, we don't drop some gems on y'all, man. Pay attention.
So I'm telling you, I'm not taking no excuses from nobody. I'm not. You got to be at the Credit Summit, but guess what? Y'all are going to make excuses on why you're not going to be at the Credit Summit. Learning from the best in the game. You talked about scams earlier. How do you know that somebody's not a scam? Are they putting on conference, inviting the whole world to come there? Some of these people online, they can only speak online. You've seen them on a podcast?
Nah, they can't step outside.
They can't step outside. Can they provide where they're getting the information from? Can they hold a webinar for 4, 8, or 10 hours?
Facts.
So you want to talk about identifying scammers? That's it.
There you go. You know what? One thing is, ladies and gentlemen, as we wrapping up the show, this is part 2 of our broadcast, right? And the Credit Summit is going to be a dope event.
Yeah.
This is part
best
2.
Event.
The first one you had a pretty good turnout, but this one you're doubling.
Yeah, we need a full, man. We like, guys, right? We want 500 people plus in the building. So everybody that's here, guys, we have the early bird tickets going on. The link is in the description. Text the word summit. Text the word summit, SUMMIT. Text the word summit to 917-993-5238. Get your tickets. Be a part of the conversation. Ask your questions live on the podcast. Because remember, they don't even know we're going to have a live podcast.
Oh, that's why I was going to let you guys. There's actually going to be future episodes, part 3. And
part 3 is at the Credit Summit.
And what we did, like how we read the comments of the viewers of the first episode, at the Credit Summit, we're going to go ahead and do live Q&A with all the attendees.
Drop your questions too, because we're going to be pulling up your questions again. And we're going to be reading them out at the Credit Summit. And we're going to be answering them. And not only me, my friends that are on stage too, they can answer some of them. So make sure these comments go wild. Not disrespectful. Ask questions to which you want to learn the answers. And guys, make sure you're at the Credit Summit. Text the word summit to 917-993-5238. And the ebook that I just created a few weeks ago that gives you the step-by-step on how I cracked the code to a FICO 800 credit score. All you guys need to do is text the word FICO That's FICO to 917-993-5238. Change your life for $47. Where else can you change your whole finances for $47? Right? All the links is gonna be in the description.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Get your Credit Summit tickets, get your FICO ebook. Go be great.
Man, listen, let's be great together.
Let
Let's be
all
great
of us be
together,
great.
man. Real talk, man. And, you know, this is the first guest where we've had him on more than once.
Really?
Yes, you're the first. Dead serious.
Shout out to y'all. Yo, don't forget to know.
That's serious. It's because of them.
I need y'all tagging EYL. Tag them in the comments because we need to pull up to the podcast.
You feel me?
All right? Tag EYL and let them know we need to be on the podcast.
You know, this is the start of something, and 2, 3, 4 years from now, when the Credit Summit becomes a national phenomenon, where it becomes the go-to place to get credit literacy, I want everybody to remember these first 2 episodes we did. This was the linchpin of, you know, bringing out financial and credit literacy to those who are unaware, being misled, or being miseducated. So I hope everybody, and we doing something dope for you guys, because again, we didn't do this for us. We did it because of the audience,
Come
right?
on.
From the
I booked
comments
the
and
flight
everything like
just
that.
for you. I'm leaving.
Nah, we gotta leave.
I'm leaving in a few to go back to Atlanta. I came to Miami for
Strictly
a few
for
hours
this.
just for y'all. And by the way, guys, on the last episode, I think right now during this filming, we're at 155,000 views.
Ooh.
Guys, I need y'all to be subscribing to the channel, all right? Stop playing. Subscribe to the channel. Mine is Darain Delavante on YouTube. It's Darain Delavante on Instagram. I need y'all going over Instagram, giving me a follow. I need y'all subscribing to my YouTube channel. I need that plaque by September so I can share the plaque with y'all. I need all of y'all signing the plaque too. I'm serious. Yo, if every one of y'all that watches part 2 and we do these same numbers as part 1, guys, and you come to the Credit Summit, I need each and every one of you signing the back of that YouTube plaque. I don't care if you sign the back, the front, I don't care. Let us get that plaque. I need y'all signatures on it.
Well, let's make it happen. Listen, you guys, of course, as you guys can see, that's the first challenge so far of the Credit Summit. Show love, show support. Obviously, you know, you guys can see Darain is pouring in with you guys. This has been an impromptu session. We spoke a couple days ago and say, bet, let's do a part 2 because of the people wanted. He jumped on a red eye, came down here, and we make it happen. Guys, show support. Of course, you can check out the show on the Respect My Blueprint podcast.
Come on, let's
You
go.
already know what it is, man. You know, all of the links.
Make sure y'all are
everything.
following too.
Of course, man. Listen, if you're not following, you already know we got pressure behind you right now. So you should be following
It
off
takes
the
2
rip.
seconds,
2
sir.
seconds
Yeah,
to
hit
hit
that
the
button.
notification
Hit that button, man.
bell
Come on.
button. All right.
Yeah, let's go.
You know what I'm saying? But listen, where I do want to see everybody, September 29th to October 1st in Atlanta. Location is to be TBT, right?
Yeah,
to be announced.
Yeah, we're gonna
determined, right?
have it at the Legacy Center.
The Legacy Center. Okay, so it's
We're gonna have
already
it at the
official.
Legacy Center. Yep. We
Okay.
can hold up to 800 people. We need
Heard?
that venue packed. Y'all need to get grandma, auntie, uncle. Everybody needs to pull up. It's a family event.
Bottom line, if anybody got a sub 600 credit score, you need to be there. If you even have a 700 credit score, come so you could tell somebody how they can get a 700 credit
let's
score.
go.
So it doesn't matter where you at, just pull up. And of course, let's all just at the same time have a great time. You feel me?
Absolutely.
Well, listen, guys, you know, thanks for pulling up, man.
Let's go.
Let's go. You already know. Catch part 3.
At the
part
Credit
3
Summit.
at the Credit Summit. You'll be able to see us again, where we're gonna have a
Live.
Q&A with all of the
Live
attendees
Q&A.
there. Definitely want to check it out, man. That's you're gonna be able to catch part 3 as well as more specials from me and Darain. And as always, what we gonna do, Jay, as we always tell them, catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.